This topic's going to be a little bit tricky. Uh, when stuff, when I talk about stuff that's going on with me at the moment, um, in one sense, it's a good time to discuss it while it's clear in my head. But at the same time, it's difficult to put it all into pieces in an order that makes any sense to anybody else. And even if I did have it in an order that was the best it could be, it still doesn't make sense to a lot of people. So um, anyway, so I've had a couple of things floating around in my head for 30 some years. One of them was that thoughts are things, and what I think has an effect on the world around me. And our thoughts have something to do with the changing of matter, of energy into matter. And that talking about something that I thought about is a little bit more powerful than just thinking about it, because I'm starting to vocalize it, verbalize it, own it, live it. The next step would be living it. So if you're acting on it, then you're like, oh, this is even more powerful a creator, because I have such a strong thought about it that I was able to talk about it and actually start to act on it. So that's even more powerful creation source. So the next step is to just move into gratitude for it already being the case. So that's why, gratitude and thankfulness and appreciation and all that stuff is so powerful. But anyhow, playing with those things, I had a couple of days ago sort of, in my meditation / be inspired by someone, which is not always easy to find somebody really to inspire you. You get people to talk about things you already know, or review stuff that you've been working on with your own spiritual path, years ago, but very little out there to sort of pull me into something. So the one I was being sort of pulled with that was may seem like a funny thing to be challenged with, but it was the concept of owning the emotion of what would it feel like to have the things that you have dreamt about being possible in your life. So, explanation of that. If I thought that having financial security or financial ability to do some things that I think would be good, I'd like to get around to my family more, I think I could be helpful, and I need to be earning more money than I am now to be able to fly around and live somewhere else for a little while. So even if you're going to go for a long weekend or something, it gets expensive. So those types of things, not the wanting more, having more for myself, whatever, but also to sort of diminish any sense of need that I still have resonating in me about, I got to get up and get my tools in my hand and start making money again, because that's my go-to when I'm feeling a little bit insecure about things. So that'd be the money situation. Health situations, you could imagine, I don't have any big issues, but you're always looking for something, to be healthier about or whatever. Happiness, what would true peace, content, happiness, joy, what would all that be like if I lived that life of that person? So I can dream about that person, but to live that, how do I create that in my world? So the point that was put out to me was, you feel the emotion of the future version of myself. If I can feel that emotion, what's that feel like to have all that stuff that we talked about? I can't put that in words. It would feel different for everybody, and the way to get there would be different for everybody. But you get what I'm leading to. So then there's the point of, what am I going to do to get myself to feel those emotions? So I kind of put that out of my head, but it's floating out there as one of the little piece of the puzzle of how I see the world around me, which is a pretty crazy story if I were to explain to you all the views I have of what's going on around me. Anyhow, so that piece of puzzle wasn't totally fitting in, but now with some meditation and some time letting it just incubate in the back of my head, like 48 hours, I had the greatest experience today of feeling that exact emotion. I went through some stuff first. I didn't know where I was going. Stuff was coming to me a little bit. And I just was, from an energy standpoint, putting down any fears of having enough money to do what I would need to do. And of not having any fear of health issues, of not having any fear of, whatever my relationship things that would be too long to explain, but all those little triggers that you have for being anxious and pulling you out of the moment and whatever, I sort of rolled through, not even kind of knowing it. And then I sat and I was feeling overjoyed. And I'm like, feeling really overjoyed compared to this morning. This morning was a great morning, but I was very content this morning to go into the feeling of a little bit of emptiness, a little bit of like lack of purpose, a little bit of lack of drive. I wasn't really excited about anything. I'm like, it's kind of weird. I think you're slipping into your old fear-based ways. And I know when you have that feeling of like nothing's pulling me up off my bed, in a very subtle sense, So you get a subtle feeling of that, and you notice it now after you've been relaxing and meditating and taking more time to be observant of what's going on around you, talk less, think a lot less, do a lot less. Those kind of things start happening. Everything gets a little more sensitive. So I'm talking very sensitively here, that there is a point where you have to go into the emotion and be one with it and appreciate it. Know that everything coming at you is a gift and it's a tool. So what's that emotion of not wanting to get up? I don't even know really how that tied in exactly, but it led me into a nice sense of peace about not having anything that I need to do right now, and I don't need to make decisions about things. But then stuff started to come up about, financial stuff and relationship stuff and what I'm going to do about people I'm concerned with in my life. And so anyhow, I didn't come up with any sense of any of those, but I moved into the emotion of what it would be like to have all those things perfect, and the joy of watching them unfold. Because it's not even a sense of I'm going to be somewhere, I can feel what that feels like to be somewhere. It's the whole thing. The process, the perfection, the acceptance, the joy, the everything. And I kind of would think, hey, I guess I've heard that you have, when you move to different vibrations, different enlightenments, different energy levels, however you want to put it, closer to God, that you'd have those sort of like joyous moments that don't seem to have any connection or whatever. But the thing is cool. It's like, well, now I know, I've had them before, but I'm getting a better sense of like there's gifts attached with that sense of joy. It's not just the fact of, oh, what a great day, what a beautiful moment, what a great feeling I have deep inside of me. It's tied in with all kinds of gifts. And it's super cool, and it's super beneficial. And I got to figure out a way to get other people where I am. Because I know some beautiful souls that would be even more beautiful if they could walk in my shoes maybe, sit in my seat, wear my pants, I don't know. Anyway, I think that's all I'm going to say about that. Anyway, that's all. Love you guys. See ya.